Hey girls, welcome back to the Asterisk podcast where I'm your host, April Biondolillo. It's a new year. Like we're in 2026. Are you guys struggling when you're writing the date? Because that was always the hardest thing. I would still be writing 2025. And I don't know about y'all, but 2025, there was a lot of wins of 2025. There was also a lot of unexpected challenges, turns, twists, plot twist, whatever you want to name it in 2026. And I just have to say, I'm so thankful that I am walking with the Lord because He has been so faithful and kind. And through every high, every low, He remains close. Like almost like kind of sounds like a rhyme or like I was going to bust out into a song, like let's see if you feel it. Through every high, through every low, He remains close. I'm actually already embarrassed that I did that out loud. But you know what? It's fine. But honestly, I mean it. Like, I've been through it this last year. I've been through it. And this isn't the episode where I'm going to share the challenges. Not quite yet, but it will come. And there have been moments where I'm just on the floor crying because that's all I can do. And yet the Lord lets me. He lets me feel it. But then there comes a point where He's like, okay, wipe off the tears, stop looking back, and look forward, and let's go because I have something for you. And what I have found in every season is just honestly the faithfulness of God. You look back and He's brought you through it and He'll do it again. But there's things, specific lessons that you learn in those valleys that traject you for where you're going next. And you become stronger, you become closer. I just am a better version of myself because of those hard challenges. And I'm still walking through it. I'm still in the midst of it. And yet I'm holding fast to this is a time for my faith to grow. This is for me to get to show that enemy, you thought you had me, but you don't. So we're getting a little sassy. We're getting a little spunky. And I'm okay with that. It's good. And it helps you appreciate what matters most in life. So again, not the episode where I'm going to go into the highs, the lows, the things I've learned, how I've grown, and encouragement for you in that. This is actually going to be a little bit something different. But maybe what you didn't anticipate for 2026 with this podcast is that I want to do more solo episodes. And I've had incredible guests on the podcast. I've loved every single one. And you'll still see guests on the podcast because sometimes it's just fun to have a little interview, have a little chat, meet someone else, hear their story. It's one of my favorite things. But I do believe when the Lord was calling me to start this podcast, He was kind of asking me to use my voice a little bit more frequently, a little bit more consistently, and to share and to challenge myself in that. I'm not gonna lie, this is a little uncomfortable. I can talk in front of a camera. I can have all the fancy equipment. It's not necessarily that. It's sometimes you sit down with the Lord to write or to teach. I have this a lot when I go to preach somewhere, and that it just feels weighty. It feels scary. And something about having to be creative in that aspect, it takes a lot out of me. But the Lord shows up and He's always so kind and it's always so good because I always want to speak from a place of if I haven't walked through this or I'm not going through it right now, I don't want to speak on something I haven't walked through or haven't currently walked through. I don't want to come off disgenuine or fake. And so trying to keep everything very real and relevant is really important to me. And also I want to be credible. Like I want to use the Bible accurately and I want to make sure everything's vetted and researched. So it's a lot of work. And so thinking of doing this on the podcast more often, what if I don't have anything to say? Or what if people don't like it? And I am a chronic people pleaser. Jesus, help free me from this for real. I'm working on it. And so this is one of the ways that I'm combating this people pleasing mentality because I'm not showing up for all the likes, the accolades, even though those feel really nice. And I will say, please make sure that you are subscribed to all the channels for this podcast because I want it to help other girls. That's my why. Going back to when you have hard moments, when you want to quit, when you're getting comfortable, it's so important to remember the why behind the what. And so everything I do when it comes to Cherish, this podcast, vlogs, school clubs, conferences, why am I doing it? Why am I doing it? Because it's not like there's this huge paycheck waiting for me. It's not that there's this huge following, and I'm not trying to like be devil's advocate or like self-deprecate in this moment of like, oh, what was me? I'm trying to point out the fact that I don't do it for those things. The why that I'm pushing myself to be uncomfortable, the why that I show up and your girl be hustling, doing lots of jobs right now so that I can keep showing up here is because I needed this as a young girl. I needed mentors in my life to pour into me, to be consistent, to model to me. Why Jesus? Why the Bible? Why are we doing this? I needed someone to tell me like where to place my attention so that my heart didn't get caught up in all of the things of this world, of the way I looked, the way I dressed, the boys that were interested or not interested, the friends that came, the friends that left, the mental health, the anxiety, the depression. I mean, all of it. I needed a space like this. And so I show up because I will forever continue to create spaces for younger girls, my age included. I'm calling myself young. I mean, people think I'm like 20 all the time because this is what we need. We need community and we need that reminding that we're not alone, that someone has walked through where you've been. So I do this for my younger self. I imagine her all the time and I just want to give her a big hug. And I want to tell her, man, God sees you. God has such great plans for you. And the rejection that you feel, it's not, it's God's protection. Like, oh, I just wish. So if you're listening, I just want you to know we may have never met, we may never meet, but I am for you. I am genuinely praying for you, believing in you, and the Lord has something for you no matter how lonely, discouraged, rejected, and alone you may feel. God is there. And so this episode, in all of that tangent, is me stepping out of my own comfort zone and sharing what the Lord has shared with me amongst the years. And so I specifically want to talk to girls today about dreams that you may have, desires, maybe going into this new year again with the goals that you set. You're wanting to step out of your comfort zone. I mean, I want to share faith with my friends. I want to invite them to church with me on a Sunday, or maybe it's youth group, maybe it's a college group, maybe it's wanting to host a Bible study in your house and being more public with your faith. Maybe it's using your social media platforms to share about that. There's a million different things of where God is calling you out of your comfort zone. But oftentimes the first thing that we do is we list all the reasons of why we can't. You're like, I don't have the education. I don't have the experience. I don't have a nice home. I don't have the equipment to be aesthetic on social media platforms. Like, you fill in the blanks. We will come up with it. And I want to challenge you that today the Lord is saying it's time to get in the game. Like, you keep sidelining yourself and you're missing out on exactly what I want to do in and through you if you just say yes. The bottom line that I want to hit at today is that God does not call the qualified, He qualifies the called. So if you have a call on your heart, and you'll know, your heart starts beating a little fast, your hands are kind of sweating, you're thinking about it all the time, there's this, pull on you, you keep going back, you're looking at that person that's doing it and you're like, man, I want to do something like that. Maybe you're like, I want to start a podcast. I want to start a blog. I want to write more. I want to write a book. I mean, I was a girl. I had all these ideas like graphic design. I just was constantly thinking, but I would get too overwhelmed. I'd look at other people and I'm like, well, they're already doing it. So I don't have anything to offer. It's not going to be as good. And I would just sit back. I sat on the sidelines for so long. And then finally, I said yes to the call. And while there has, yes, been challenges because you don't win every game, but guess what? There's a bigger game at play. You keep showing up, you bear the marks, the bruises, the scars, because we win at the end of the day. And I want to be a part of that team. I don't want to be a part of the team where I was just on the sidelines cheering them on, where there are moments where that is just the season where you're learning and growing. Ultimately, no matter what, I just want to make sure wherever I'm placed, wherever God positions me, that I'm all in. And it's not because of me doubting myself, the insecurities, the thoughts in my mind, whatever, that keep me away from what God has. So most of y'all already know who I am, but in case you're new here, probably should have started with that. But I grew up in Texas, and before things get carried away, I just want to be straight and honest. I'm a disappointment to the state of Texas. For real. Like, I don't own boots. I will never go two-stepping. I hate country music. I don't know if we can say hate on the internet, but I'm saying it. I don't like it. Don't like country music. Some people are like, oh, just give it a try in the summertime. Still not feeling it. So Texas doesn't like me. And it's okay. That's why they kicked me out of the state. They didn't. I moved. Or did they? Just kidding. That's weird. I don't even know why I'm joking about that. But I grew up in Texas, have two incredible parents. They're amazing. Ron and Paula, shout out to them. They really did model to me all my life what it meant to truly follow Jesus, not where it was like, oh, this would be fun, this would be cool, this is something we just do on Sundays, and then behind the scenes it looks different. No, they had their own story of where they made the choice to not just follow Jesus, but be fully surrendered, not just know about him, check off the boxes, but like we're all in. And I am so grateful, and I emphasize that because I know that's not everyone's story. I have met with so many individuals where they're walking it out on their own, even as young people, like in youth. Man, all these kids would come and their parents aren't modeling that, and they're the ones bringing their parents to church. And I'm not talking any shame in that scenario. I just am so proud of young people that are doing it because, man, they desire to. No one's forcing them. And so grew up in Texas, had great parents, and grew up with this idea that I was a blessing, which my parents would tell me. And I figured, well, yeah, everyone should feel blessed when they're in the presence of me. I'm a little sarcastic here. But the reason they would say this is because I was a kid that would put myself to sleep at night. Now, if you've ever babysat or you're a parent yourself, like, bedtime, we're not playing games. This is not a joke. There is oftentimes a lot of sweating, a lot of recommitting our lives to Jesus. And yeah, you're burning calories. It's a lot. You're like negotiating with a 2-year-old. You're like, this is ridiculous. So my parents would hear these horror stories, and then they would have me who would come to them as 4 in the middle of, at the end of the day, and just say, hey, mom and dad, thanks so much for taking me to the park today, packing all my fun snacks. Like, it was so fun. But you know what? It's getting kind of late, so it's time to retire for the night. They would sit back and be like, who is this child? How do we deserve her? God, you are so good. And so I grew up thinking that going to bed early was indeed and in fact a blessing until I went to my very first sleepover. Now, most of you already know, I don't know why we call these things sleepovers, because there's no such thing as sleep at a sleepover. You can ask all my friends, anyone that knows me. I did not do well at sleepovers because I didn't know that you're not supposed to be the first one to fall asleep. So after many whipped creams to the face, embarrassing photos all over the internet, what I consider trauma in my life, I decided my parents are liars. Like, it is not a blessing to go to sleep. And what's so funny, or to go to sleep early, what's so funny is growing up in the South, like, manners are a must. Like, you come out the womb and you learn how to say yes, ma'am, no, ma'am, yes, sir, no, sir. So I would have guests over at my house, and it would be late at night. They want to put in a movie, and that's just like game over for April. Like, you put in a movie late at night, like, I'm crashing out on the couch. And my parents would come into the living room and they see my guests awake and me asleep on the couch. And they would start laying into me. They'd wake me up, pull me into the other room. And they're like, you need to be there to take care of your guests. You can't be falling asleep. You need to wait on them, anything they need. I'm like, is it a bad thing? Is it a good thing? Is it a blessing or is it a curse? Like, you guys are not making sense. Like, my parents are speaking out of both sides of their mouth. So as you can see, I had a very traumatic childhood growing up. Fast forward, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to grow out of this. This is just a phase. I'm going to go to college, have the time of my life, stay up late. Don't get the wrong idea. I went to a Christian college, so there was no drinking. You like sign a form, like you're going to coffee shops to hang out. Okay. So very, like, when we say have a good time, we're doing Bible studies. I'm not making jokes. I'm just being honest. So this didn't happen though. I went to bed still at 10 p.m. at night. It was like, I had a sleep schedule still as today. It is something that we don't mess with. We don't play around. We don't try to, I need my sleep, and I get very cranky if I don't get it. But when I was in college, I got the opportunity to be a chaplain, which basically means I was going to get to pastor the girls on my floor, which Obviously, here we are running a women's ministry. So, I was so excited for this opportunity. So, I said yes to being a chaplain, went through all my interviews. Everything was going so well. I get to the end, you have to sign this like code of commitment thing. I go through it, I'm reading it. I'm like, yeah, I can abide by all of this. And then I get to this spot that says, you are to make yourself available at any time for the girls on your floor. That seems a little problematic, don't you think? Anytime, like, no, like I go to bed early, but unfortunately, this is not the story of everyone else. So I read it a couple times and I was like, you know what? It's fine. These girls are going to get to know me. They're going to be respectful. They're going to know we don't mess with April past 9 p.m. Easy peasy, sign the paper, done. What time do these girls start knocking on my door? Every time after 9 p.m. So I had to get a little bit creative, like snuck on my floor, looked once, looked twice, ran, locked the door, turned off the lights, pretended like I wasn't home. There were so many moments where I was laying in that bed, not asleep. Girls are knocking. I mean, they probably had like major things they needed to share. Like life was happening. And your girl was like, sorry, not the right time. And I joke about all of this truthfully because a lot of times I would sit there in my bed, I'm like, kind of feeling a little guilty by not opening the door, but I was like, shoot, like I already met with maybe 3 girls that day. I have a full load at college. I'm working on campus because my college made you pay for room and board all 4 years. So still paying student loans. Thank you. But all that to say, I was like, I justified it. But the truth is, when it all boils down, is that I was choosing my convenience, my comfortability, over stepping into what God was calling me into. What I viewed as an interruption to my day, my sleep, was actually an invitation from God to be fully in the game. And I can tell you that the days that I chose to open that door and step into that interruption slash invitation, I never regretted it. I didn't do it every time. I'm gonna be honest. The times I did, the things that the girls would share with me, it was an honor. I couldn't believe I got to sit there with them. And I wasn't thinking about, oh, my class load tomorrow or my sleep schedule or anything else other than, wow, like, God, thank you for letting me be in these moments. Thank you for letting me be a safe place to others. Thank you for letting me be a reflection. Thank you for letting me be a participant in what you are doing. I mean, girls would confess things, they would share things. We would have just some really big pivotal moments and conversations. And honestly, I'd wake up refreshed, rejuvenated, on fire, on passion for the things God had for me. And I think oftentimes you and I, we miss out on the things that God is calling us into because we're comfortable. And God is telling us in this episode today, it is time to get uncomfortable. It's time to stretch yourself. It's time to grind. It's time to, yes, like we need our time to rest. Don't get me wrong, but this is not a message on resting. This is a message on it's a new year. You may have set the same goals again and again. You're frustrated why you're not seeing any movement forward. Start evaluating yourself. Are you getting uncomfortable? Like it's time to go. So I want to point our attention. We're going to look at the Bible because, that's important. But I want to share with you that the disciples in the Bible were exactly in the same spot we're talking about today, where they were excited for some rest. They were excited for some comfortability, but the Lord was saying, no, it's time to get uncomfortable. So I'm going to point our attention to this story in the gospel about Jesus feeding the 5,000. So we're going to look at the book of Mark. Let me pull it up here. And just look at how Jesus fully, just straight up, was real with the disciples. So Mark chapter 6, this is how he addressed the disciples of what it means to be full participants in the game. I'm going to read 30 through 36. It says, the apostles gathered around Jesus and reported to him all they had done and taught. Then, because so many people were coming and going that they did not even have a chance to eat, he said to them, come with me by yourselves to a quiet place and get some rest. That's screaming, let's get comfortable. Let's have like a cozy night in, just fun. Like, sign me up for that. So they went away by themselves in a boat to a solitary place. But many who saw them leaving recognized them and ran on foot from all the towns and got there ahead of them. Y'all, they were interrupted. Not cool. And when Jesus landed and saw a large crowd, he had compassion on them because they were like sheep without a shepherd. So he began teaching them many things. He didn't dismiss them when they came. He said, no, I'm going to draw y'all in. But by this time, it was late in the day, so his disciples came to him and they said, "This is a remote place, Jesus, and it's already very late. The people look hungry, like send them away so they can go to the surrounding countryside and villages and buy themselves something to eat." And, something that I love about Jesus and sometimes something that I struggle with is that he knows our hearts. Like, where I love that he knows our hearts is maybe you are trying to overcome a sin or an addiction in your life. And there's a difference between struggling and struggling well. Like, God sees your efforts and what you're putting behind. Like, maybe it's not fully done, but last week you slipped up 5 times and this week it's 3. Like, that's getting better. And he sees that and he's for you and he honors you. Where I don't love that he sees our heart is that he knows what we're communicating when we're actually trying to communicate something else. Like, we got everyone fooled. Like, this is what I'm saying. He's like, no, 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 I know what you're saying. So the disciples, they're not communicating on behalf of the people here. They're communicating on behalf of themselves. Like, the people are like, this is Jesus. Like, he's healing people. He's setting people free. The lame can walk. The blind can see. Like, we want to be with Jesus. We're not even thinking about how hungry or tired we are because we're in the presence of literally Jesus. But the disciples, they're with Jesus all the time. They're like, hey, this has been really great. We've seen this. Like, we just want to go rest. And so I love how Jesus responds because he's like, you know what, disciples, I just love that you are thinking of other people before yourselves. Like, that's so awesome. Why don't you go feed the people? And they're like, how did we get this wrong? Like, that wasn't what I was trying to communicate. I was just trying to complain, but not actually do anything about it. And I think that's a real big challenge for us today as Christians, that we can point and complain about where other people are doing it wrong or where they failed, but ultimately, instead of usually the frustrations that you feel, that's often the passion that the Lord's putting inside of you of hey, get in the game. Like, it's time for you to step up. The greatest frustrations, I growing up would find anything to complain about with youth group, or it should have been like this, or why is it like that? And that's not helpful. Instead, it's saying, hey, I have this idea, or hey, how do we go about this? It's not just pointing out where everyone else is getting it wrong and sitting back with our arms folded, or being that annoying fan in the crowd yelling at the coach, yelling at the players not playing the game. Like, you're not in the game, so you don't get a voice to speak into it. If you want a voice, get in the game and then help us. Don't complain. That's a good word. So the disciples are like, there's too many people here. We're not going to be able to feed them. And truthfully, there wouldn't have been 5 to 10,000. There was more like 15 to 20,000, because there would have been women and children in the crowd, and the theologians would have said they wouldn't have counted the women and children. So they're looking at 15 to 20,000 people, and they're like, anyone got a Lunchable, a little bit of snacks saving for later? No. They go through the whole crowd and they can't find anyone. They can't find anything, except they come across my favorite part, a little boy who wouldn't have been counted in the crowd that day. And he's like, I don't know much. I don't know if it's enough to feed everyone, but what I have is 5 loaves and 2 fish. And that's exactly what Jesus was looking for. He wasn't looking for the disciples to solve the whole problem, because even on our best days, all we're going to show up with is 5 loaves and 2 fish. He's just asking, what do you have? What can you give? And so what I love about this little boy is, like I said, he wouldn't have been counted in the crowd that day. He would have been overlooked, underqualified, not even seen as a candidate in this moment. And I felt like that for so long in my life. I got into ministry at a young age. It took some work to get an on-time, a full-time job on staff at a church, because a lot of the requirements was that I needed to be male, or I needed to be married, or I needed to have a certain amount of experience. And I was like, well, might as well just put on my resume unqualified. Got hired on at a church. I showed up, this little Southern girl, looks like she's 14, to the west side of Washington, unchurched area. I mean, I just learned so much, became a youth pastor over there, and God just worked through me. But it came with, okay, I don't have much. I don't have everything. But what I have is 5 loaves and 2 fish. Moments where I felt overwhelmed. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know how to put a sermon together. I've got to recruit volunteers. People think I'm young. I'm heartbroken. I just got out of this relationship. I have no friends. I feel lonely. Fill in the blank. And the Lord was just so faithful, saying, April, just show up with what you have. From there, met my husband. We get married. I start Cherish Ministry, a nonprofit. I don't know the first thing about starting a nonprofit, the taxes and fundraising and boards. And yet here I am doing the very thing of just showing up with, here's my 5 loaves and 2 fish. When I get overwhelmed, I remember God is not asking me to solve everything. He's just saying, you do the possible and I do the impossible. From there, I worked at the Union Gospel Mission as the director of the Women and Children Shelter. Again, not a thing in my mind that I knew about alcoholism, substance abuse, mental health, homelessness, domestic violence. I mean, you name it. But yet the Lord is saying, you do the possible, I do the impossible. And my point through all of these different scenarios to where I'm at today is that there's never been anything that the Lord has called me to that I felt qualified to do. I've always come with 1,000 reasons of why I couldn't do it. But the Lord, again, what he is saying is he doesn't call the qualified, he qualifies the called. When I've stepped out of my uncomfortability, when I've said yes to him, this is what I have, and not looking at my little as nothing, he has been so amazing to multiply in ways that I never thought possible. And that's exactly what he did in this story with the disciples. He didn't look at the disciples when they came with the 5 loaves and 2 fish and said, that's all you can offer, that's all you have. He looked at it, he blessed it, and he broke it. And the disciples had to act out in faith before they saw it. They had to get uncomfortable and start to hand out these little like fish bones and pieces of bread. And when they went through the whole crowd, it said that everyone had enough to eat, not just eat, but be satisfied. And where there was 12 baskets full of leftovers. So each disciple would have a basket to remember that even on the days that you're tired, or on the days where you feel like it's impossible, the days that you want to remain comfortable, you're going to miss out on the things that I have for you because I don't want to give you just what you ask for. I want to do more than you could ever think, dream, or imagine. Isn't that amazing that he's placing desires on our heart and we think we have an idea of what it's going to look like? And if we're obedient to him, he's going to surpass every dream, desire, and do it in an amazing way where we can't take credit for it. He limits his abilities. He could have been a local Walmart, Costco, fed all the people that day, but instead he wants us to experience what it means to be a full participant. He wants us to experience him working in and through us so that we can bring glory to him and glorify him in everything that we're doing. So friends, if you're listening to this today, I just want this to be encouragement that your little's not nothing. Don't stay comfortable. Step out. If you've been frustrated that you keep going back to the same thing again and again, you're not moving forward. Evaluate your life. Where are you remaining comfortable? Just get started. Just do it. Show up with your 5 loaves and 2 fish and watch God multiply it. He wants to use you. He's called you. Therefore, he will qualify you. So my question I want you to ponder on is, what are your 5 loaves and 2 fish? Where are you holding back? Where are you remaining comfortable? What is God asking for you to bring to the table today to see change and breakthrough, not just in your life, but through you to other people? So, friends, I'm so excited you were here, girls. It is so fun chatting with y'all. Let me know what you think about this episode. It was a little bit different, just solo chatting it out. But this is something I really believe that the Lord's calling me to want to do more often. But if there's anything specific you want to hear about, discuss, leave a comment. But again, make sure that you are liking, subscribing, sharing this with people in your world. It really does help get the word out and allow us to do what we're doing here on this side of the podcast. So love you all, and I'll see you again in 2 weeks.